Go to Joshua 3. Joshua 3. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to be very honest from the jump. I'm going to do my best to do what that time clock says. Am I going to get in trouble if I don't? Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to do my best to do this in 18 minutes. So I'm going to try to submit. Joshua 3. I'm going to read in your hearing probably 6 or 7 verses, but I'm going to preach through the entire chapter. Joshua 3, and I'm reading from New Revised Standard Version. It says, early in the morning, Joshua rose and set out from Shittim with all the Israelites, and they came to the Jordan. They camped there before crossing over. Everybody shout, crossing over. At the end of 3 days, the officers went through the camp and commanded the people, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God being carried by the Levitical priests, then you shall set out from your place. Follow it so that you may know the way you should go. For you have not passed this way before. When you see where God is going, don't get distracted by what you knew before you saw him. Whatever you do, follow the glory, because where I'm about to take you, you have never been this way before. This may only hit a couple of you all as I introduce it, but here is where it gets me. There is a path carved for your future that is not a carbon copy of what anybody else has done before. And until you get the boldness to follow the glory of God beyond what you have seen and beyond what you saw grandmama and them do, and simply say, God, wherever you're going, I'm going with you. I don't care who I gotta leave. I don't care who don't like it. I don't care what denominational affiliations have to say about me. There is something in the glory that I cannot dismiss and I cannot bypass. And I know that I didn't get myself this far, and I know if I'm going any further than where I am right now, I can't do it unless the glory goes before me. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not trying to regurgitate what my granddaddy did. I'm not trying to do what my father did. But there is something on the inside of me that is calling me to a place beyond what I have seen and beyond what I've known. And I believe I'm talking about 150 of you that know that there's a pulling on the inside of you that says, I cannot be stagnant. I can't get comfortable where I am right now, because there's a future that God is calling me to, and he's about to shoot me like an arrow into my tomorrow, because I believe my best days are yet to come. There are generations waiting on you to make up your mind and say, I'm going somewhere. So the commanders tell the people, when you see the Ark of the Covenant, follow it. Because you don't know what your next step's about to look like, because you've not passed this way before. But watch, it says, yet there shall be a space between you and it, a distance of about 2,000 cubits or 3,000 feet. Do not come nearer to it. Then Joshua said to the people, last verse, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And I'm going to try my best to dissect all of this in a moment, but I need you to bump a neighbor real quick and say, I'm going somewhere. Now, if that neighbor exhibited no excitement over the fact that you were going somewhere, you may need to find someone else real quick on this 14th anniversary and make a declaration and say, I'm going somewhere. Matter of fact, look at somebody behind you and just tell them, I'm just getting started. And if people are already frustrated over your right now, let them fool around and give you another 6 months in 2018 and watch what God, I'm prophesying over you. If they're already mad at where you are on July the 1st, 2018. Don't let them fool around and get you to December and watch what God is going to. Hey, the heavens are open and I'm just getting started. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and it has yet to enter into the hearts of men. I'm just getting warmed up. Take your seat. Take your seats. Just getting started. One of the dangers of journeys is the uncertainty with exactly how you're going to end up where you know you're headed. Now, there was a day before all this modern technology like Waze and Siri that, you had to use a map to go everywhere you wanted to go. I remember we would take these road trips, and my dad would pull out this big map. It would take up the entire back seat of the car. And we would just kind of set out on a journey. He knew where he was supposed to end up. But just about every trip, my dad at some point in that journey would get lost. Now, this may only matter to a few of you. How many of y'all ever been lost? Driving lost. We know Chief needs every GPS piece he can get. But how many of y'all ever been driving and just got lost? And my dad would pull over and he would open up this big map on the trunk of the car. And he would begin to take his finger and try to figure out where he was and how, on the landscape from where he was, how he was going to get where he knew he needed to go. It would often take him about 15, 20, sometimes 30, sometimes 60 minutes to ascertain where I am now and the place where I know I'm headed. But after taking a couple minutes to study a map, he would get back in the car and he would say, we got a little off track, but I know how to get back where I'm going. There was a moment and a season where things got a little haywire, but now that I've made my mind up to get my life back together, I may have made a detour, a wrong turn, a wrong relationship, a wrong job, a wrong city, but I've made up my mind now that it's my season to get back on track. Matter of fact, I don't have another mile to waste. I don't have another hour to waste. I don't have another second to waste going a direction that God never called me to be in to begin with. So you find in the context of the scripture that Joshua was a different type of leader than Moses. The way that God used him was differently. The way that God dealt with him was differently. What I love about Joshua, though, is that because Joshua was willing to sit at Moses' feet, there were things that he learned that would safeguard his future. Joshua didn't sit and be a part of the glory that Moses had and then rise up and say, I can duplicate this and do it myself. He waited till the timing was right and until he had learned and extracted everything that he needed to extract from Moses. And better yet, he waited till God said, Moses, my servant, is dead and the ball is in your court. The first thing you learn about Joshua and his leadership style is that he quickly understood, though I've got to take everybody with me, I don't need everybody's opinion. I'm sorry. I do this thing in Atlanta. When I really start feeling, I just skip a little bit. Here's what you learn about Joshua. He learned something very critical about Moses. Moses was on the brink of the promise, and he sent 12 Negroes to go spy out the land. And when they got there, they said the grapes are in abundance, but the issue is there are too many giants in the land, and we cannot overcome them. Joshua, when it was his turn, he remembered what happened with Moses and said, instead of sending a whole delegation, I'm going to send 2 of y'all that have walked close enough with me to know that if you like it or not, we still going to do the doggone thing. I'm looking for a few of y'all that have made up your mind. If they like me, I'm going to do it. If they don't like me, I'm going to do it. If they talk about me, I'm going to do it. If they don't say a word, I'm still going to do the doggone thing. One thing that's killing your purpose is the desire for popularity. And if you need a consensus and for everybody to agree with what God is about to do in your life, baby, you have already missed the boat. I'm looking for a few of y'all that are willing to say, y'all can write me off today as long as I know I'm doing what God called me to do. I could care less about your bald head self anyway. Joshua very quickly made up his mind, I don't have to do it the way that Moses did it. We were already at the brink of a promise. And he let 10 people talk over 1 million out of what God said. So this time, I'm going to send 2. They go to Rahab, they get the report, they come back and tell Joshua, everybody's afraid because they know the Lord is with us. What I love about Joshua, and I'm about to start walking the text Baptist style. What I love about Joshua is that after he gets the report from Rahab, he didn't immediately go and try and take a city. Because just because you know you have power does not mean it's always time to exercise therein. The best power and the best authority is restrained authority. Meaning I know what I got, I know what's in my bank, I know what's behind me, but I ain't got to show you everything today. I know how to hold off for a season until the timing is right. Because, listen to me, it makes no sense to have power and your patterns haven't changed. When God gets ready to use Joshua to usher this generation into the promised land, the first thing he does is begins to play with their patterns. Verse 1 says they got up early in the morning and they set out for Shittim, right across or right at the brink of the Jordan. Listen, he got everybody up in the 4th watch of the day. And he began to take them into a place or to a place that they had not crossed over before. Now, listen to me. God cannot be God of your life and not be God of your patterns. And if you are too married to doing it the way you've always done it, you'll never see the way that God is trying to exemplify himself in and over your life. So he gets them up early in the morning. Bump your neighbor and say early. Now, let me help you. 12 noon is not early. Well, I'm a night owl. Retrain yourself. How many of y'all know that God can deal with you different when you give him the first part of your day? I said God can deal with you differently when you give him the first part. When I can give God that 4th watch of my morning, 4th watch of my day, God can do something different with the rest of my day when I'm willing to let him break a pattern. But then, here's the next thing. This is the part that blesses me. When it's time to talk to the people, Joshua doesn't go do it himself. He sends his commanders. And his commanders begin to tell the people, we're going to cross over tomorrow. Now, why is this important? It wasn't Joshua, but it was the authority that he had put in place that was still saying it. Y'all take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. There is authority that Apostle Stevenson has put in the house. And just because you didn't hear it directly from his mouth does not mean it wasn't his voice that made it happen. Woo. If the only thing that'll make you move is if you hear it from him yourself, you really are not as mature as you think you are. If the only thing that makes you jump and makes you buck is if he says it out of his mouth, you ain't really submitted and as honorable as you call yourself. I don't care how much money you give. If you can't respond to commanded authority, you are not ready to rule in authority. They didn't say, well, what did Joshua say about it? They were rulers in place, and they commanded the moment according to the authority that they had been given. Now, here's where it gets real interesting for me. Pastor Clack, come help me. Y'all know I only deal with pictures. You can just stand right there. Yep. Face everybody. All right. Pastor Josh, come help me real quick. Hey, Pastor Josh, come help me real quick. Hurry up. Come here, man, real quick. All right. If you would, just... What is wrong with you? If y'all would, just reach down and put your arms around his legs. Around Brandon's. Yep. Matter of fact, sit on his feet. Best you can. And hold him real tight. Y'all got him? Now, Chief, what I need you to do real quick is just walk by Brandon. Just walk by him. Just walk past him. Walk past him. Now, okay, go ahead and walk by again, Chief. If your life is assigned to him, follow him. Now, y'all watch this. The first thing he tried to do was grab the glory and make the glory stay where he was. It is dangerous to try to make God happy with your comfort zone. God is not trying to marry everything that you're comfortable with. God is not trying to make you feel better about the stuff he's trying to deliver you from. God is not a God that's about to allow you to stick him in a place where he is not trying to stay. Chief, walk by again. You can try to walk. Chief, walk wherever you want to. Now here, if you all can't see this picture, I want to make it plain. It becomes difficult to chase God's glory when there are still anchors holding you to your path. There's a reason why Joshua stood up amongst the people and said, sanctify yourself. Without sanctification, your past is going to speak louder than your future. But I'm looking for people in all nations today to say, God, wash me again. God, cleanse me again. I can't let my past stop me from my future. Chief, walk by. Go ahead, walk by, walk by. Now see, the first thing Pastor Clark said is, can the Lord help me? But here's the challenge. The Lord can't help what you don't want to let go of yourself. See, Brandon hasn't even made an attempt to shake some stuff off of him. What sense does it make for God to swoop in and save you when you really don't want to be saved? There is a place where you got to make up your mind that my history is not going to stop me from walking into the promise. So it means before I get the fullness of where God's about to take us, because it says the Ark of the Covenant is going to go before you. And no matter what you do, follow it, because you have not been this way before. Brandon, are you satisfied with them there? But look at what he's done. He's made his anchors like pets. He's patting them on the back. He's rubbing them. He's like, you know what? I don't want you, but I don't necessarily want you to leave either. I hate the results, but I still benefit from your presence. There's got to come a point where you no longer want the benefit of the hell that almost drove you crazy anyway. There's got to be a moment when you say, I almost lost my mind, but I made up my mind. You ain't going to drive me crazy. You ain't going to make me lose it. Black, it's whenever you're ready. Now, Chief, walk by again. This is going to bless you real good. Walk by, Chief. Because here's the thing. Here's the other part of it. I don't want to go too far down to the text. But what you see next is that God begins to tell Joshua, I'm going to bless you right in the middle of your enemies. Some of the people you have been able to dismiss, you still want them to stay in eyes view of what God's about to do in you. Yeah, you had to get out of my life in this season, but I want you to have a front row seat at what God's about to do in my life. I want you out, but I want you close. I want you to see that what's about to happen in my life, it was not by power, it was not by might, but it was by the Spirit of the living God. Chief, keep walking. Walk wherever you want to walk. Do something extremely uncomfortable for somebody as tall as Clack. Because here's the thing. Keep walking, Chief. When I have found the glory, I make up my mind that no matter where the glory goes, it'll never shake me again. I don't care if I have to jump over troops and leap over walls. Now that I got the glory back, I will never be dismissed again. I need somebody in this place that knows glory's coming back to your house to open up your mouth and say, I'll never be left again. Shout unto God with the voice of triumph. I found it, and I'll never be left again. Here's why I'm saying all this. Some of you all thought the wilderness was your final deliverance. He brought you out of bondage and you were happy just not being bound anymore. But I want you to rest assured that on the other side of bondage there's a place called promise. I don't want you to become comfortable being a wilderness wanderer. And I don't want you to make a temporary passing point your permanent dwelling place. I need you to tell someone real quick, I'm just passing through because I'm going somewhere. Now, I'm almost done. What he does next is very important. God then takes a moment and he speaks to Joshua himself. And I want you to hear what he says, because I believe it's a prophetic commandment for us as it pertains to our chief and to where we're going. He says to Joshua, verse 7, "This day I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all of Israel, so that they may know that I will be with you as I was with Moses. You are the one who shall command the priest to bear the ark of the covenant. And when you come to the edge of the waters of the Jordan, you shall stand still in the Jordan." Here's the thing. There's a place that is only unlocked because of the directives God has assigned to one man for your future. I need y'all to hear me. I know you say, well, don't nobody control me. It's my own life. I got one life to live. That sounds all good in theory. But when you know your life has been assigned to a voice, it means that when they speak, even if I don't see it, something begins to. I need to talk to a few of y'all that know this is your tribe. Because every time he has opened up his mouth to speak over your future, things began to unlock and you began to get understanding and revelation open and jobs open and money open and doors open and cities open and things that people said you'd never be qualified for all of a sudden came finding you without you looking for them. Why? Your future is voice assigned. God will put a word in the mouth of a leader that will set you up for a paradigm that you didn't even know existed. God will put one word in the mouth of the voice that's assigned to your future, that where you see water, he sees dry ground. Lord, real quick, if you're close to a wall, man, it's a prophetic moment. If you're close to a wall, I want you to put your hands on it real quick. Close to a wall, anywhere out here, if you're close to a wall, and real quick, as a prophetic gesture, I want you to push that wall. And I'm about to tell you while you're pushing it. All you see or what you feel is if there is nothing moving at all. The prophetic gesture is this: where we are, these walls cannot contain where we're going. Because God has put a word in the mouth of our leader on this 14th anniversary that this is not enough for the glory that God is going to reveal in Chicago, Illinois. So as my prophetic gesture, I push on the walls and declare that there is expansion on a house, that there is expansion on a people, that there is expansion on a movement, that God is stretching us wider and he's taking us deeper than ever before. Push that wall. Because it makes no sense for God to give you a voice but you not follow it. Says to Joshua, I promise I'm close. I'm doing it. He says, I'm about to use you as a catalyst to take a people to a place where they've never been before. I'm going to prove to them, as I was with Moses, so I'm going to be with you. So he does something that he's never done before. Joshua commands the priests to get to the Jordan River. Now here's, man, I'm good. Joshua commands the people to camp at the place they're about to cross over. Meaning, there's a space where you've got to be at the edge of a promise, but not walk into it prematurely. Otherwise, you're going to try to swim across what God's about to dry up for you. And it's dangerous to try to become Michael Phelps and you barely can doggy paddle as it is. But what God does for the children of Israel this time, there is no staff in Joshua's hand, but there's an ark on his shoulders. He doesn't have the rod that Moses used to make the Red Sea stand up on two sides. But he's got the Ark of the Covenant that's got the rod in it. And when the priest put their feet in the water, not even when it got ankle deep, but the moment their feet touched the Jordan, the Bible says instead of the water parting ways, it stood up on one side. He used the ark as an illustration for the children of Israel, that for your ancestors I made it part, but for you I'm about to make it stand up. That for the last generation where it separated, for this generation I'm about to make it all gather together. And you're about to walk across a wall that did not exist before you got there. I need a few of y'all that just made up your mind that God will stand water up for me because I'm choosing to follow the voice that he's assigned to my life. Whatever has been in my way, got to stand up on one side. Here's the beauty of the whole thing. The priest stood in the middle, and they stood still, holding the ark, so that the people assigned to them could cross over to the other side. If today you can't thank God for anything else, thank God that he sent you a priest that would be a bridge for you to get over. Y'all are way too quiet in here for me today. You gotta thank God that he sent a prophetic priest and a prophetic house to be a bridge for you to cross over. You were stuck on stupid, but he stood in the joint so that you can cross over from what was to what will be. I need somebody in this place to open up your mouth and thank God that he assigned a priest to your life. You didn't need a warrior, you needed a prince, a priest. Because hear me, there were some things you would have never crossed over. There were some places you would still be stuck. There were some things you would have never even ventured to do unless God had assigned a priest. Listen to me. And as much as I love him, hear me, and as close as we are, there's still a space where I love him, but I got to keep my distance. The commanders told the people, don't come within 3,000 feet of the covenant, because if you get too close, you're going to lose where you're going. May the spirit of familiarity be killed over a people and over a house. May you no longer clamor for their attention, but you clamor for what's on their life and where they're going. May you no longer beg to serve, but simply say, wherever you go, I'm willing to go. Love this man. The Apostle K were literally the voices that brought us out of depravity. I'd still be stuck in the middle of a desert, literally. But his voice activated something in me to say that there's still more beyond where you are. And I love them. Talk to them weekly, daily almost. But there's still a place that in all the conversations, I never want to get too close. I never want to forget that he's not a friend, but a voice for my future. Are we in the same place? This is not my homie. This is not my dog. This is not my day one. This is the voice that God has assigned to my future. And I can't get too familiar. Because the one thing that'll destroy your future is the spirit of familiarity. You can get too close and miss the entire move because your proximity made you see the person and not the priest. But you got to keep your distance because you know their lives carry the words that will shoot you beyond where you are. You got to keep your distance because you know as they lead me, there's something in me that's gravitated like a magnet to where they're going. And I don't want to miss my promise because I got too close and tried to touch what was trying to lead me. I don't want to make him my friend when I need a voice for my future. I don't get agitated when they don't follow back on social media because if they follow me or not, I'm still following them. I'm not bothered if my email is not personally returned from their hands because I know that when they stand here on a Sunday morning, when the mouths open up, there's something in me that comes to life. All nations hear me. Where you're going, you've never been before. I want you to hear me clearly. Where you're going, the city has not seen what God is about to construct in you and through you. And I'm not talking about a building, I'm talking about a people. What you have seen has not been seen. You have never gone this way before. But what keeps you this last minute close to power and close to presence and focused on your future, it's the posture of your hearts. Meaning, any parts of the old me that would want to create it in my own power, I lay it at the altar and I ask God to burn it up. Because I don't want me to get in the way of my tomorrow. I don't want my desires. I don't want my design. I don't want the way I thought it should go. I don't want the way I created it to be. I don't want me to get in the way of my tomorrow. If that's your plea and that's your cry, I want to hear the sound of worship out your mouth as you tell God, whatever's in me, take it out of me now. Come on, open your mouth for about 15 seconds. Let God kill every idol, every place of vanity, every place of entitlement, every place of familiarity, every place of commonality. Kill it, God, that we won't miss your glory. Sanctify a house and sanctify a people that we won't miss your glory. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. You have to be resolved. Hey, that where you are is not the finality of where you're going. going to the future, I don't have a template for where I'm about to go. There's no rule book, there's no manual, there's no instruction guide. There are days I'm just walking and hoping that what I heard matches up with what I'm supposed to see. Here's the last thing. There's some things that God's going to show you through your sensitivity. If you'll remain sensitive to do what God has said, and if you'll remain submitted to the place God called you to be, there are some things that you saw in your sensitivity that you're about to see in your natural eyes all over. Are y'all with me? There are some places that you didn't know how you were going to get from point A to point B, but because you remain submitted and sensitive, God's going to show you what he promised you to begin with. Be not deceived. God will never be mocked. If he promised it, he's going to make it good. If he said it, he's going to perform it. He's not a man that he's going to lie, and he's not going to use your story to put a blemish on his. If he promised it, posture your heart to say, even when it's uncomfortable, I'm submitted. Even when I don't understand it, I'm submitted. Woo! I don't know why I feel this, but Father, let a blanket of submission fall on a house again. Let a blanket of submission fall on a people again. Let submission fall like rain, that we won't kick against the prick, but we'll follow it even when we don't understand it. 14 was a number of demarcation for generations. When they talk about the lineage of Jesus, it's divided into 3 sections of 14. You're walking into a final and preparing to enter into a next. And I don't want you to miss a moment of crossing over. If he's doing it in a house, he's about to do it in yours as well. And I don't want you to miss what God is about to do in the context of all nations. Hear me? I've never seen what God has done as he's done it in the midst of us. But every day, I wake up and I say, God, whatever it looks like, and whatever you're calling us to build, today I give you my yes. It's not always comfortable. There are days it has made me cry. There are days it has made me wonder if I'm really called by God. But no matter what I feel like when I wake up, God, I'm still going to give you my yes. For our final demonstration, can you just open your mouth and give God one more yes for your future? Woo. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care what I lose. I give you my yes. I give you my yes. I give you my yes. Raise that up. I give you my yes. I give you my yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes to the assignment. Yes to the promise. Yes to the glory. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, raise it, raise it, raise it. Yes, yes, yes. He's coming for your yes, 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 yes. He's coming for your yes, yes, yes. I'll cross over, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. faithful and seal them in this yes. We won't renege and take it back. But we give you our full devotion for our future. We're on the brink of crossing over, and backwards is not an option. And where we are is not fulfilling us. So we say yes to the future. We say yes to the voice. And we say yes to everything. Woo, everything that our tomorrow looks like. Chief, if you'll just grab Apostle K's hand real quick. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this quick. I want you to stretch your hands towards your leaders. And I want you, with everything that you've got left, to pray strength to their hands and to their eyes, that they'll never fail to see and or to hear what God is saying concerning the future of this move in this house. Can you open your mouth and pray for a moment? These are your Joshuas. Come on. These are our Joshuas. Come on. Father, I thank you that their hands will never be empty of vision. I thank you that their pockets will never be empty of provision. I thank you that you are not a man that you should lie, nor the son of man that you should repent. And these both were born for the time that they were needed the most. We vow to stay submitted. We vow to stay honorable. We vow to follow their voice as they follow your leading and your prompting. We vow to hold their hands up. We vow to not stress them. We vow to be the ones to push them as you call them. And we declare in Jesus' name that as they cross over, they'll never cross over by themselves. But we will be the people that will follow wherever they go. We declare that we will follow. We will follow. We will follow. We will follow. We are submitted and we will follow in Jesus' name. If you believe that, give God one more great big hand clap of praise.